Welcome to Coaching for Creatives with Kirsten. My name is Kirsti Call. I'm a therapist-trained life coach and a children's book author. Together, we'll get the drama out of our lives and onto the page. Let's get started. You are listening to episode 45, When You Get What You Need, Not What You Want. When I first started writing, I wanted my stories to be published immediately, of course. I wanted editors to love them and people to read them. I wanted my career to jumpstart right away. I did have a beautiful beginning to my career where the second story I ever wrote was published by a small publishing company. The raindrop who couldn't fall gave me the opportunity to really be an author, to do school visits, to go to Jane Yolen's boot camp. After I was properly vetted, of course. No self-published authors could apply. So back to what I wanted. I wanted an agent. I wanted bigger publishers. I wanted instant success. Instead, I struggled for 6 years after my first book was published. I got hundreds of rejections from agents and editors. I took class after class and honed my craft. I went to conferences and networked. I joined several critique groups. I blogged, I joined 12 by 12 and Write Your Story. I wrote and wrote and wrote terrible draft after terrible draft. Finally, I got an agent. Finally, after 6 years of rejection, that agent sold some books to big publishers. And then I got a different agent, and she sold some books to big publishers. I didn't want to wait for this. I did not like my 6 years of slogging through the publishing rigmarole. I didn't want it at all. But it is exactly what I needed. I needed to struggle. I needed to network and go to conferences and learn how to write better. I needed to write and rewrite. I needed to experience rejection over and over and over again. All of these things taught me about myself. I learned I have grit and patience and perseverance. I learned I don't give up too easily. I learned how to become a better writer. I became who I am today because I got what I needed, not what I wanted. So, let's talk about when we get what we need and not what we want. The song Fix You by Coldplay keeps going through my head as I write this. With a name like Fix You, Chris Martin clearly didn't understand thought work. But if you don't know the song, you should. Perhaps listen to it after this episode. There's this line, when you get what you want, but not what you need. Such a beautiful line. Getting what you want isn't actually what you need. Almost never is. Let's talk about what to do when you don't get what you want, but you're most likely getting what you need. Number 1, notice how you're feeling. Are you disappointed? Devastated? Sad? Flummoxed? Do you feel like a failure or like you'll never get what you want? For me, with my writing and authoring situation, I felt discouraged. I felt like a failure. I wondered if I would ever succeed. I almost gave up so many times. So that's the first step, noticing what you're feeling. It's really key. Next, number 2 is allow yourself to feel whatever it is, no matter how negative it might seem. If you're disappointed, allow yourself to really take the time to feel disappointment or sadness or anger. Maybe not getting what you want makes you feel angry. Lean into the anger. As you know from last week's podcast, I'm a big fan of allowing yourself to feel mad. So again, during my 6-year dry spell, I had to allow myself to feel all the things, all of the disappointment, all of the everything we feel when we're sad that we haven't gotten what we wanted. So after you've allowed yourself to feel all the disappointment, sorrow, anger, etc., and you've processed it, we come to number 3, which is ask yourself why not getting what you want is perfect for you. I know this is a really weird question and feels counterintuitive, especially if you're super disappointed. But when you ask yourself this question, it forces your brain to think about it in another way. How is this loss of my want perfect? How is this situation perfect for me? When I asked myself this question during my 6-year publishing struggle, I discovered things that hadn't occurred to me before. And they wouldn't have occurred to me had I not taken the time to really think about it and write about it in my journal. Here are a few reasons why my 6-year dry spell was perfect for me. I now understand what it's like to get rejection after rejection after rejection. I have empathy for all the other writers out there who are struggling to get agents or contracts. I had time, albeit forced time, to really hone my craft. Since I wasn't promoting books or doing many school visits, I had space for exciting projects like co-running the Reading for Research Challenge, blogging, and judging for the Sybil's Award. It forced me to slow down. I really like moving fast. I like writing a really horrible story really fast and then revising over and over and over again. Fast. Not getting what I wanted in terms of publishing contracts forced me to slow down, to revise several stories more than I would have. Cow Says Meow and The Big Scream are stories I wrote 10 years before they came out as books. But that first version of each of them was very different and not nearly as good as the final product. I am incredibly grateful I had time to get these stories right and get them to the perfect publishers for them, the right publishers. As you can tell, there are so many reasons why my dry spell was perfect for me, even though I didn't want it. In fact, I resisted it at every turn. Number 4. Number 4 is another question. How is this situation exactly what I need right now? Again, this question is not the kind of question you would naturally ask yourself given that our thoughts are 80% negative. But this question inevitably helps us understand how our wants are different from our needs. So often, as a parent, I've witnessed my children having tantrums over what they want. And what they want is definitely not what they need. For example, kids never want to go to sleep, but they definitely need sleep. Kids usually really, really want sugary treats instead of veggies, but they actually need nutrients, right? I picture an all-knowing deity looking at us as we kick and scream and resist what we need because we want something else that seems better in the moment. We don't always want what we need. In fact, usually our wants do not match up with our needs. That leads us to number 5. Number 5, our wants won't match up with our needs 95% of the time. And that's okay. We just need to notice and observe. Perhaps even witness our toddler brains having a tantrum over not getting what we want. When we choose to be metacognitive, notice our adult tantrum about not getting what we want, we can remind ourselves that whatever is happening might be exactly what we need. An adult tantrum might look like complaints about other people's successes, or beating ourselves up for not succeeding, or choosing not to create art despite our very real need to create. If you notice yourself doing any of these things, ask yourself if you're having an adult tantrum in response to not getting what you want. And then remind yourself, we very rarely get what we want, but we almost always get what we need. Here are some thoughts to think when you're frustrated with not getting what you want. I didn't get what I wanted, and that's okay. Most of the time I don't get what I want, and that's okay. Perhaps I'm getting what I need. Sometimes I need things I don't want. Sometimes I don't want what I need. Nothing has gone wrong here. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be on this artistic journey. I'm getting what I need, even if I don't like that I need it. And I have one more thought that I think is very empowering. I can choose what I want. I can choose to embrace what I need. What I need can become what I want. Truly, our thoughts have that much power. Because our thoughts lead to our feelings lead to our actions, and our actions lead to our results. It's hard to have wants unfulfilled. It's hard to have faith that our needs are being met when we don't want what's happening. I hope what we've talked about today has given you what you want and what you need. Until next time, keep smiling. If you like what you've heard, check out my Get Yourself Unstuck program. Go to KirstenCall.com. That's KirstineCall.com and schedule a free consultation today. Coaching for Creatives is produced by Kirsti Call. Music and audio engineering by James Call.